The city of Fowler, located in Benton County, Indiana, is a small town known for its friendly residents and historical buildings. While it may seem like your normal small town, it holds a dark secret. On October 26, 1872, Moses Fowler began expanding lots in Benton County. By 1875, the town of Fowler became incorporated and had grown into one of the biggest towns in Benton County. In 1876, the Benton County Jail was established. The jail consisted of 32 beds for inmates, as well as living quarters for the sheriff and his family. The town of Fowler was a happy and safe place to be. However, in 1883, an event would take place that would change everything. On a farm just outside the city limits, a 15-year-old girl named Ada Atkinson was found brutally murdered. A man by the name of Jacob Nelling was immediately blamed for the murder and was arrested. While awaiting trial, a mob of hundreds of men broke into the jail and dragged Nelling back to the area where the murder was committed. There, Nelling was hung. The story of Jacob Nelling over the years has become something of a tall tale, and what exactly happened to Jacob Nelling and the murder of Ada Atkinson has become something of a debate. To finally bring some clarity to this story, a group of paranormal investigators have set out on a mission to discover what actually happened that night at the Benton County Jail. The team has set up interviews to learn more about the Atkinson family, as well as a better understanding of the old Benton County Jail. In addition, the team has decided to turn to the more supernatural side to see if the spirits of the jail have anything to say. The team began their investigation with Tim Piercy, a former jailer who worked at the old Benton County Jail before it closed down. The team had the opportunity to follow Tim around as he shared some of his experiences and gave them a tour of the jail.
When I first started here, there wasn't a soul in jail. This was empty. There wasn't anybody in here. And then we got a guy in here, and it stayed full till they moved over across the street in '98.
The old Benton County Jail has seen its share of inmates over the nearly 150 years since it was built. Tim has seen many different inmates during his time as a jailer at this particular jail.
Drug use, domestic violence. We've had a few murders in the county. About every 10 years they have a murder.
Wanting to know some of the darker history of the jail, the team wanted to see what other information Tim would be able to share.
That's the dungeon.
Oh, the dungeon. So you guys call it the dungeon too?
Yes,
So why do you guys call it the dungeon?
because it is a dungeon.
Following Tim into the dungeon, the team was curious to see why he too called the basement the dungeon.
They actually put people back here in these and shackle them to the wall.
So they did shackle people to the wall.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
The chains are gone.
The rumors of chains in the basement was always something the team wanted to confirm, and Tim was finally able to do just that.
And shackle them inside this room.
So that's why we've always assumed that there would have been stuff that's happened down here, because that's what it looked like.
Back in the olden days, so never while I was here.
Okay.
Because they've got shackle on each side.
Right.
Now, that's deep.
After learning more of the jail's dark past, the team now wanted to see what Tim knew about Jacob Nelling.
Oh, that people say he was guilty, no, beyond a reasonable doubt. That's why the guys carried out with what they done. But until you go through the court system, I mean, hearsay's hearsay.
Tim said the people knew he was guilty, but what did he think?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
The team felt they had learned a lot with the information and knowledge Tim had given them. However, they had one more question for Tim. Had he ever experienced any paranormal activity while working at the jail?
I've heard some stuff coming out of the dungeon, yes. There was a frequent howl that come from back there. And, you know, the sheriff and I and everybody else, we blamed it on wind. We blamed it on, you know, different temperatures in the furnace. But it happened several times while I was downstairs. And it was just a screechy howl.
Does it sound human or animal or no?
Beyond human.
Okay.
It was a weird howl. I'm not going to say I didn't come upstairs a couple times right after that happened.
After finishing their interview with Tim, the team left the jail to meet with Jeff Schaefer, a living relative of Ada Atkinson. We head over to Jeff's property. This is the same property where Ada Atkinson lived and Jacob Nelling was hung. Jeff not only agreed to speak with the team, but also showed them the property where Ada lived, as well as a suspected area where Jacob Nelling was hung.
My great-great-great-grandfather, Cephas and Rachel, had 5 children. 3 of them were girls, 2 were boys, and 1 was Aunt Ada, which is what we called her when we were kids and still do today. I had graduated from high school and it was a family chore, so I had gone there with the intent to find out if my grandfather telling me what he said about the fact they had to paint it dark brown because they couldn't clean the blood off. There was so much of it, and I would still be able to find it on the rafters. I was surprised when I took the floor up and I saw the rafters. It looked like oil had just spilled out of a car, the way they were soaked. You could tell that was blood, and that was her blood.
The original house was demolished, however, Jeff was still in possession of some of the original parts from the house.
See how narrow it is? That's how they made things back then, more Victorian style.
Wow. So is this the front door or is
This was the door. Remember I showed you the picture? Okay, in the house. That was the house. Upstairs, you see that little balcony there? You would open this door to get out to the balcony.
Okay.
Okay? That's how some people said he had gotten out. Was he left that way? I don't know.
So it's possible that he could have opened this door several times, even possibly in his escape to get out.
Correct.
Looking at the door gave the team a physical connection to the case. However, Jeff had one more thing he wanted to show the team.
I have another door, I'll show you, which is the base door that was under it. That's in the other tool shed. I look at that all the time. I keep thinking, you know, God, 100 years gone by.
Yeah.
And still seems like there's something there.
Huh.
Don't know, can't put your finger on it, but you still got a feeling.
Sure.
The team took a quick ride to where the front door was located.
So that would have been the front entry door.
That would have been the front entry door.
After seeing some of the original pieces of the house, the team hoped Jeff knew some of the stories that had been passed down about the night of Nelling's death.
I know some of the bits and pieces. My grandfather was trying to tell me one day, and Grandma kind of overheard him, came running out of the kitchen going, "Earl, stop that now. Quit telling Jeffrey stories." But I heard also from my uncle, who is my mother's brother. So these stories were based on factual knowledge. that the family took no part in the hanging. They were Quakers. And probably because of that, the surrounding people in town took the opportunity to express their anger and horror to what had happened to a beloved family and struck out against that person. They said the only thing that he said when they asked him about who did it, he did not deny. He simply said, and one favor, please turn the buckboard around so my feet don't get hung up in the seat. And that's what they did. They hung him, and they pinned a note on him, murderers beware. And then that was 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. By 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, they cut him down and started tearing the tree apart for souvenirs.
The team also wanted to know if the rumors of a massive mob storming the jail and removing Jacob Nelling from his cell was true.
They said the first night there were 500 people that tried to break him out, and then it was 1,000 strong. I'm not sure about the numbers because this whole area, I mean, our family, we had several thousand acres, and then the next family over. So you only had maybe a couple hundred people in the vicinity. Where these other people came from, I'm sure there were several hundred people, let's put it that way. The fact that they broke him out and brought him back here, there's no doubt about that.
The team was excited for all of this information Jeff had given them. The team also wanted to know if Jeff had any paranormal experiences while being on the property.
At the age of 12, I believe, and at that time we were playing outside, and my cousins liked to play games that harassed me, that made me chase them. I had thought one of them had gone in the house, and when I came into the kitchen, the door going upstairs was open. I went upstairs calling, "Are you up here?" No answer. Now, the door to the attic, which is where the hired hand stayed and where Jack Nelling stayed, on a hot summer day, you couldn't do anything but pull it with two hands to open it. It stuck. It stuck so bad sometimes I couldn't even open it, that we had to wait another day until the swelling went down to the door. This was a hot July day. That door was wide open. When I came up, it swung. And I look inside, and the cord to the light switch going up the stairs was swinging back and forth, and the light was on. So I just took for granted that's where those little rascals ran to. Went up there expecting to get one of them little rascal cousins. And in my life, I never felt so cold in an attic that used to be steamy, hot, and sweaty the moment you stepped into it. I felt cold going right through my body. And then I felt the hair on my back stand up. I hadn't heard them, and I called out their names again. "Mike, Rich!" And then I heard downstairs, "Hey, we're down here!" I think I took 2 steps and I was in the kitchen. And they looked at me going, "What's wrong with you? We've been outside. We were waiting for you." And I said, "Who was upstairs?" "No one's in the house, Jeff." And I looked at him and I go, "You've got to be kidding me. I just came from the attic. Somebody had to be up there to open the door. It's freezing up there." They started laughing like they were playing a joke. only then realizing that I was serious because I had the blankest stare in my eye, and they couldn't understand why I looked like I did. That's where I cannot describe what I saw or felt other than those emotions at the time, because of the simple fact when we went up the stairs, A, the door was stuck, closed, B, the light switch was off, C, it was hot and sticky in the attic, just like always. Was I dreaming? Don't think so.
Jeff had one more thing he wanted to show the team, the place where he thought Nelling would have been hung. While the tree would no longer be there, Jeff was confident this was the spot. Now that the team had learned as much as they could from Tim and Jeff, it was time to begin the investigation. The team arrived back at the jail. It was time to begin the investigation. The team began to prepare their equipment and discuss the plan for the night. Before starting the official investigation, the team did a preliminary walk through the jail and set out some equipment to aid them in their investigation. It wasn't long until their equipment started showing they were not alone.
So the keys to get out of there, it says 0. It's probably picking up the heat signatures from the edges of this from when I was leaning on them.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, did you see a blue?
Did you see the blue there
I
for a
did.
second?
Yeah.
There's a blue dot.
There it is
It
again.
just keeps popping up on there. See, it's moving around.
Yep, blue at the bottom.
There's some sort of a cold dot that keeps moving around in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the screen there. Look at towards the bottom.
After the team set up their equipment, they decided to head back to Jacob Nelling's cell area to see if they can get him to communicate.
So what is the plan?
Do you want to set up a double Estes in here?
Yeah, that's a great
Okay.
idea.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play the part of Jacob. Casey's gonna play the part of Ada Atkinson. She's gonna stand in the place where supposedly on October 18th, 1883, there was a reporter that came in here. He interviewed Jacob. Jacob said that there was a spirit of Ada that had come in the night before, and he had had a conversation with her. So we thought that this would be an interesting experiment to have Casey come in, play the part of Ada. I'm going to stay inside of the cell that he was forcibly taken out of, and I'm going to play the part of Jacob, and we're going to use the Estes method, which is we use a spirit box. White noise is pumped into both of our ears. It's going through the radio station so fast that we shouldn't be able to hear any words. However, the theory is that spirits can use that white noise to insert words in between so that we can hear them. And if we hear them, we're going to go ahead and say them out loud. We're also going to be blindfolded so that we can't see, and then we'll have an extra set of headphones over those other headphones so that we can't hear any of the responses or the questions that are coming out. So when we speak, the theory is that that would be Jacob or another spirit, or Ada or another spirit that's producing the words. We're going to try to see if we can have a conversation between Ada and Jacob in a place where they had it back in 1883. We start having a conversation, similar to what happened in 1883. So at first, let's try and see if we have a conversation, and then if we don't, or if it seems like it needs a little bit of help, then start maybe trying to interview both of us. Hey, here's a question for both of you, or how do you feel about this, Ada, or how do you feel about this, Jacob? And I'll take on Jacob, she'll take on Ada, and we'll see what comes out of it. So if there's something else that you want to speak, I want you to say it through me. Ada, I want you to speak through Casey. Okay, that's Casey in
At
front of me.
peace.
Okay. So we're gonna get started right
I
now.
see. The story.
What's the story?
They pronounced
With
me. Ada was here. It was more.
questions.
There was more questions. Ada, did you have questions for Jacob? Is that why you saw him when he was still in the cell?
Destroy.
Help me.
Breach.
Did they breach you out of here, Jacob?
Them. Slaughtered.
The investigators continued asking questions to the Estes method to try to get a response. However, it wouldn't be much longer till they would get an answer.
Going.
Door.
Slightly freezing.
Spirit.
It's very freezing.
What?
I said it's very freezing.
Longevity.
What?
I said it's very freezing.
Strange.
That was really cool.
That was
I miss you.
Was this a spirit talking directly to the investigators?
Let's say that.
You got it.
Ask. Not me.
You know, I'm looking at this like they're trying to.
Holiday.
Yeah, listen to it like they're talking to each other.
Superb.
Point.
Sound.
Sound, yeah. This.
EMF detector just went off.
Yeah, she just said sound.
It's very
Good.
hard to tell, but I feel cold. Better than normal.
Were these spirits discussing the sound that the EMF detector was making? What was the detector picking up?
A break. Faceless.
Masked.
It was beginning to seem both Pete and Casey were almost in sync with the words they were saying. Was this a conversation between Ada and Jacob? Or was one of the spirits speaking through both of them?
Ever.
Broken.
Something just moved in here. I don't know if it was Pete or not. I don't see him
I keep
moving.
hearing cracks.
It'll be next.
and crinkling.
Why don't you?
Dear.
Is he standing or sitting? And he's not moving. I mean, I'm not looking at his feet, but did you hear it or see it? I heard it. Yeah.
Under
One.
the court.
I'm hearing it again.
Shouldn't deal with it.
He does have his hand up against the wall.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been watching it. But he hasn't. Did you hear the tell? Or
Her fault.
The wall does not look that
it
peeling.
sounded like a rock or something, like it was rolling around on the ground or something.
Help.
No, Pete's actually. Oh, yeah,
his
he is.
hands-
I see it. After a while, the investigators noticed Pete started acting strangely.
Nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Welcome.
Look at his hand.
Are you Ada?
I feel. I'm not hearing this. I'm feeling like
Yeah.
like my voice is getting raspy. Like I'm. Like pressure
Yeah.
right in here.
I think we might need to pull Pete out of
Wait, Pete.
Oh. my
Yeah,
God.
we need to pull Pete out
The
of it.
fence.
You alright? the investigators quickly pulled Pete and Casey out of the Estes method. Prolonged exposure can have a negative effect on people, and the investigators could clearly tell Pete was being affected.
Well, so
Casey said, wait.
yeah, so the whole reason like we pulled you out of that one, go ahead and tap Casey out too, was you started like tapping your hand in like a really weird sort of way. We were watching it, and that's when you're like, I feel like my voice is getting past me. So I look at them and I'm like, hey, like I think we might need to want to pull Pete out of this. And then all of a sudden you said, wait, Pete. Wait, Pete. Or did you say wake or wait? I thought it was wait.
It sounded like wait.
Yeah, like
It was wait.
And at that point, I'm like, all right, let's take over.
What was I doing with my hand?
You were like,
tapping.
I mean, yeah, you were like almost like Morse code. Like it wasn't like.
I knew at one point I was just hitting my hand out here and it got too cold to like hold my
Yeah,
hand.
no,
on the wall.
you were doing like.
But I didn't know what I was doing with that.
Yeah, but it didn't. It seemed really weird. Yeah.
After filling in Pete and Casey on what had just happened, the team decided to break up into smaller groups to continue the investigation of the jail.
Almost like choking or like, you know what I mean? Like gurgly, like whatever. But then it was,
We both had some common words like home and
Yeah, like home. You guys kept both of you kept saying
Yeah,
30
yeah.
and 3.
Really?
Okay. What else was What else was like a common thing?
Pete and Justin decided to go investigate the dungeon, while Brian and Dwight investigated the sheriff's residence.
Southeast corner of the residence of the Benton County Jail.
And Casey and Tyler remained in the cell blocks.
I'm in the basement of the old Benton County Jail.
You're in the women's ward.
Going out in the hallway real quick.
Is everyone in position? I'm in position. In position in the attic.
So am I downstairs.
I want to sit down. I'll let this go. I'll record while I'm in here. I'll put this down on the windowsill.
I am in the cell. We got blue light going off. The entire cell is lit up blue.
Wow, I don't think that's ever happened before. I don't know if it has something to do with the temperature or the fact if there's something like manifesting in there.
There's a few small dots that are moving around that are not lit up.
But good 90% of it is.
Does it say how many, like, occurrences happened on the left side? Does it still say 0?
Events is 673.
Are you serious?
Serious with a heart
Attack. It's pretty cold in here too.
I don't know if I can tell, but it just seems like it got real cold in here. I officially see my breath too. It's that cold.
Granted, I'm in the basement. I'm reading even the coldest temperature only being 48 degrees, so we shouldn't be seeing our breath. Was it a coincidence that everyone started feeling cold at the same time? Also considering that the temperature in the jail wasn't cold enough to where someone's breath would have been able to be seen? Is there anybody in the kitchen area right now?
Go up some stairs, like over in the kitchen area.
Yeah, I heard the footsteps in the kitchen area too. I'm literally right down the stairs going into the basement, and it was like almost right above me. I still hear something up there.
What it sounded like from mine is it sounded like somebody walking up those stairs that lead to the door on the north side of the building.
From my level, I'm not hearing any steps. We heard a very loud shuffling coming from the kitchen area from my cell.
I am hearing movement up here in the cells. I think somebody should come to the cells.
I'll head down that way. Ouch.
I didn't hear any movement.
Alright.
Little did Casey know, she captured an EVP telling her to hurry. Did you hear it? Listen again.
I didn't hear any movement.
Alright. Alright. Alright.
Casey was not the only one who was having activity without even realizing it. Here it is again. At the same time Pete was capturing an EVP in the dungeon, Brian was upstairs, hearing something a little more unsettling.
I'm hearing a growling noise now.
Did you hear it? Listen again. As Tyler and Casey continued to explore the cell blocks, they too were about to hear something they would not be able to explain.
When I first got here, you see how many are like turned off right now? Like, Did you hear that?
It's like burp, burp.
Yep. When I first got here, you see how many are like turned off right now? Did you hear that?
It's like burp, burp.
Yep. You see how many are like turned off right now? Did you hear that? You see how many are like turned off right now? Did you hear that?
With everyone having their own experiences in their respective areas, the team decided to regroup and discuss what experiences they've had so far. Do you guys want to regroup?
Yeah, I'm not feeling too good right now. I'm coming down.
Let's regroup.
After reuniting,
Tyler explained to the group about some of the activity he had experienced in the cell block. This intrigued Pete, and he wanted to revisit the cell block with Tyler.
Jacob, are you in there? Jacob, if you're in here, I want you to yell out as loud as you can. And I'll be able to hear you. I think I just heard you a little bit through these. Do it again, just scream out. Say your name. Who did you kill? It's time for you to admit it after all these years. I want you to yell out Ada. You just whispered something. Say it again. The heck was that?
Did he say talk?
Did you hear it? Here it is again.
You just whispered something. Say it again. The heck was that?
Did he say talk?
Both Pete and Tyler heard this disembodied voice without any equipment. Clearly, someone wanted to communicate with them.
Somebody talking.
Yep.
You hear movement? Over from the other side?
I think so. Let's go over there.
Hearing something from the other side of the cell block, Pete and Tyler decide to investigate.
Are you upset? Heard something there. You gotta scream louder so we can hear you. You can use some of my energy if you need to. Was that them?
I don't know, but I heard that with my ears.
Holy crap.
This was the loudest disembodied voice caught by the team for the entire night. Listen again.
You gotta scream louder so we can hear you. You can use some of my energy if you need to. Was that them?
I don't know, but I heard that with my ears.
Holy crap. Did you hear that? It was like a shout. It was like a male shouting.
Pete and Tyler had no explanation for what they had just heard. Was someone asking them for help? The team had decided to do one final review of the night before packing up. Definitely heard some walking around in the kitchen, and we had made sure that no one was in the kitchen. Everybody was being stationary.
I actually walked on the other side towards the padded cell area, and I literally walked through a wall of complete black darkness.
I could hear Brian asking me if I was moving around. He was the floor below me. And I heard nothing, but he heard footsteps, and I wasn't moving. And then I heard footsteps below me. He didn't hear them, but it was like it was between the two floors. So it was just really weird. They weren't like in the room with me.
I was alone in the southeast corner of the upstairs bedroom, and I noticed the tripwire lights go from purple to red. So I grabbed the video camera to go videotape it, and the video camera went dead. And all of a sudden, I had to sit down because it felt like somebody was sucking the breath out of my lungs. And I decided to come straight downstairs.
So I went straight to Jacob's cell. Upon going there, immediately noticed that the Pete, what did you have set up in the cell? What's the name for it?
The laser grid?
Yeah, the laser grid? Okay.
Yeah.
Laser grid was showing all blue, so signs of cool. The entire grid was filled up. And then about 5 minutes after that, the infrared camera that I was using started acting very strange, blipping in and out. And the further I got away from the cell, the slower it blipped. So about that time, figured it was a malfunction, went to the women's quarters where Casey was, and her camera was doing the exact same thing, blurry and not able to focus, fuzzy. So we both came down to the cell block, and that's where she encountered the wall of black.
What'd you hear?
A woman's voice here in the office.
Yeah.
Like what we heard before. Yeah, sound like a woman in here.
When we heard the woman earlier, we were all downstairs,
Everybody
right?
was downstairs.
So it could have come from here.
Yeah, it sounded like the same thing we heard downstairs. Is everybody in the kitchen? Casey, Brian?
Yeah.
It sounded like someone on the stairs, didn't it?
Huh?
Has
It
anybody
didn't
come
seem
up or
like the
down?
spirits were ready to let the team leave. However, it had been a long night and the team had a lot of data to review to see if they had captured any of their experiences on camera. After the investigation, the team did hours of research, hoping to find out once and for all what exactly happened to Jacob Nelling. While all research pointed to the hanging, nothing could be proven. Then, the team had a breakthrough. While the team was digging through old archives, they came across a single photo that would finally prove the tale of how Jacob Nelling spent his final moments. What you are about to see may be disturbing. This photo was taken right after the hanging of Jacob Nelling. You can even see the note warning all murderers pinned to his chest. While we may never know for sure if Nelling indeed was the murderer, we do know he paid the price for the crime. However, the person who suffered the most would have been Ada Atkinson. Only at 15 years old, her entire life was taken away. May her soul rest in peace.